Hello students, in today's video we'll learn about internal direct products. We have already learned about external direct products, and external direct products is a way of putting multiple groups into a larger group, and it would be quite useful if we can reverse this process. If at all, we can break up a larger group as a product of smaller groups. So that is the purpose of introducing the concept of internal direct product. So let's see the definition of an internal direct product. Okay. So internal direct product. Now if H and K are normal subgroups of a group G, then G is called an internal direct product of H and K, and we write G is equals to H cross K if G is equals to HK and H intersection K is identity. Alright, so if H and K are normal subgroups of a group G, then G is called an internal direct product of H and K, and we write G is equals to H cross K if G is equals to HK and H intersection K is E. Now what is HK? If H and K are any two subgroups, then HK will be equal to the elements H dot K, where H belongs to H and K belongs to K. Alright, H and K are normal subgroups of G. Now we shall also see that you might be coming up with some questions in mind why we have introduced this normal subgroups. It could have been a simple subgroup, and why this extra condition H intersection K is identity. So let's see. First let's define, this is only for two subgroups, and the definition for n subgroups, if H1, H2 so on up till Hn is a collection of, is a finite collection of normal subgroups of G then G is an internal direct product of H1, H2 so on up till Hn, and we write G is equals to H1 cross H2 cross H3 so on up till Hn if property A is G is equals to H1, H2 so on up till Hn, and property B is H1 intersection H2 Hi, H1, H2 so on, this is a product, intersection Hi plus 1 is identity. Alright, so now you will see that there is a lot of difference between the definition for with the two subgroups and with n subgroups. Okay, so this is the same, G is equals to HK, G is equals to H1 into H2 into so on up till Hn, and this is a little different. H intersection K is identity. Here we say that H1, H2 so on up till Hi intersection Hi plus 1 is identity. Now you might be coming up with questions why we introduced normal subgroups here. Okay, why this extra condition H intersection K is E? This is because we are interested in proving that, and why we have defined internal direct products in such a manner. This is because we are interested in proving that H1 cross H2 cross H3 so on up till Hn is isomorphic to H1 direct sum, H2 direct sum, so on up till Hn. Alright. So now we shall prove that, we shall use these conditions to prove this theorem. And after we prove this theorem, you will realize why we defined internal direct product with such conditions. Now we will use these two. Normality of subgroups, each of these subgroups, and the last condition to prove that different elements from HIs, different subgroups commute with each other. Say for example, if HI belongs to HI and HJ belongs to HJ, then these two will commute with each other. But before proving that HI and HJ, commute with each other, before proving this thing, we shall prove one important property, that if G is an internal direct product where I lies between 1 and n, then HI intersection HJ is identity. Rather, any two subgroups will be disjoint. Okay, not disjoint, actually the common element will be identity, and J lies between 1 and n. Okay, so how to prove that? If X belongs to HI intersection HJ. Okay, so now keep noting these points, because these are part of the theorem. So in this case, X belongs to HI and X belongs to HJ. Okay, so now X can be written as, say, E1 is an identity of H1, E2 is an identity of H2, or we can say rather, these, since all of these are subgroups, so they will have the same identity. Okay, so we can say that HI, since X belongs to HI, okay, so, and X is E, so on up to ith position where we will have E, then at jth position we have HJ, then E, so on up to E. So these are n indexes. Okay, so can we write X belongs to H1 so on up till H2 so on up till Hj? So we know that I is not equal to j. Okay, so clearly I is not equal to j. Let's assume that j is greater than I. Okay, either it will be less than I or it will be greater than I. So it doesn't matter in what way we are taking it. Let's assume that j is greater than I. So in that case, I am assuming here j, that's why I have written Hj afterwards Hi. Okay, so in this case, can we say X belongs to this? Yes, because it belongs to Hi where I is less than or equal to Hj minus 1. Because j is greater than I, so I is less than or equal to j minus 1. Okay. So clearly it belongs to this product. Also X belongs to Hj. This implies X belongs to H1, H2, so on up till Hj minus 1 intersection Hj. Now by second property of subgroups, second property of the internal direct product, this implies X is identity. Okay, because H1, H2, so on up till Hi intersection Hi plus 1 is identity. Okay, so if G is an internal direct product of n subgroups, n normal subgroups, in that case Hi intersection Hj is identity. Now for proving this, we have used the second property of internal direct product. Okay, so now we shall prove that any two elements of HIs commute with each other. So if HI belongs to HI and HJ belongs to this HJ, capital HJ. In this case, we need to prove that HI HJ is equals to HJ into HI. Okay? So how we shall prove that? We know that HI HJ okay. So how? Now we know that HJ is a normal subgroup of G. This implies X HJ X inverse is contained in HJ. Okay. So if HI is any element of, we know that it belongs to HI, but let's consider that it's an element of a group HI HJ. Since X HJ X inverse is contained in HJ, this implies this belongs to HJ. Okay. So this belongs to HJ into HJ inverse. Now HJ is a subgroup and hence HJ inverse also belongs to HJ, and this element is absorbed by HJ. Again, let's consider HI into HJ into H inverse into HJ inverse. Okay. So this belongs to HJ. Okay. Now this belongs to HJ because HJ is a normal subgroup of G. So this is, again, this element belongs to HJ. Similarly, HI into HJ, HI inverse, HJ inverse now since HI is also a normal subgroup, so HI X inverse is a subset of HI. Okay, so you can consider that if it is HJ, its inverse is HJ inverse, and this belongs to HI, so this will belong to HI. So this belongs to HI, which is equal to HI, because this absorbs this element HI. Okay, so from 1 and 2, we have HJ HI inverse, HJ inverse belongs to HI intersection HJ, which is equal to identity. Just now we proved that HI intersection HJ where I is not equal to J is identity when G is an internal direct product of H1 so on up to Hn. So in this case, this belongs to HI intersection HJ, and hence this is equal to identity element. This implies left multiplying and right multiplying gives us this result. HI HJ is equals to HJ HI. Alright? So hence any two elements from distinct subgroups HI HJ commute with each other. So now after proving this, we also prove that any element in G can be uniquely expressed as, the representation is unique. Okay, can be uniquely expressed as this product H1 H2 so on up to Hn. Alright, so now suppose that we have two representations. So now Hn, by performing some operations, will have Hn dash inverse is equals to, this will go here. Okay, so or we can say that Hn dash Hn inverse is equals to, let's move it here and all the elements, all the other elements on the left hand side. So it will be H1 dash inverse H1, H2 dash inverse H2, so on up to H1 dash Hn minus 1 inverse into Hn. Can we write it like this? By performing some operations on the left hand side and the right hand side, we take Hn to the right hand side and bring all the n minus 1 elements on the left hand side. So this again, H1 dash belongs to H1, again its inverse belongs to H1 because it's a subgroup, and multiplication with H1 belongs to H1. This belongs to H1, this belongs to H2, similarly this belongs to Hn minus 1. This implies Hn dash Hn inverse belongs to H1, H2, so on up to Hn minus 1. Also Hn dash Hn inverse belongs to H1, belongs to Hn. Okay, clearly these two elements belong to Hn. Therefore, since the intersection of these two is identity, therefore Hn dash Hn inverse is identity. This implies Hn dash is equals to Hn inverse. Okay. Now put, by cancelling this, is equals to Hn. Now by cancelling, right cancellation, we get a product of n minus 1 elements on both sides, and similarly we can go on proving for in general we can prove that Hi is equals to Hi dash for every I from 1 to n. We have already proved it for n. Now write cancel and then start proving in the similar manner. You can in general prove that this is. So if G is an internal direct product of n subgroups and normal subgroups, in that case again we used the second condition of the internal direct product. So now so far we have used, I think, 3 properties. We have proved that the normality of the subgroups in the definition of internal direct products and second condition combinedly prove that any two elements from different subgroups commute with each other. Okay, using those two conditions we proved that, and for that we also proved that for if G is an internal direct product of these subgroups, then Hi intersection Hj, any two subgroups will have only identity as a common element. Okay, so now third thing that we used was this representation as a product of H1, H2, so on up to Hn is unique. Okay, so we had 2 representations and we proved that each of this representation, it's the same. Okay, so after this we define a mapping. Now our work is easier and there's not much to be proved. Now we define a mapping phi from H1 cross H2. Now it's the time to define the mapping, and then we will prove that it's an isomorphism. Okay, so H1, H2, H3, so on up to Hn goes to now why did we prove uniqueness? Because to prove that if H1 dash, H2 dash, so on up to Hn dash is equals to H1, H2, so on up to Hn, this will imply H1 is equals to H1 dash, H2 is equals to H2 dash. This implies H1, so on up to Hn is equals to H1, H1 dash. Okay. Why did we prove the uniqueness? To prove that this mapping is well defined, we needed that every representation as a product of elements in HIs, we should be able to prove that this mapping is well defined. So we can prove that this mapping is well defined only when we have that the result that this representation is unique. Now if h1, h2, so on up till hn is equal to h1 dash into h2 dash into so on up till hn dash, in that case, since the representation is unique, this implies h1 is equals to h1 dash, h2 is equals to h2 dash, as we had proved just now. So in that case, these tuples will also be equal, and therefore their the range values will be equal. So therefore phi of h1 so on up till hn is equals to phi of h1 dash, h2 dash, so on up till hn dash. Okay, so we use the uniqueness property to prove that this mapping is well defined. Now clearly, if it is 1 1, because if the two tuples are equal, if these two are equal, then each of these components is equal, and if each of these components is equal, then the product is also equal. So there's nothing to prove. In order to prove it 1 1, it's well defined 1 1. Now clearly it's onto, because if we are given n components, each of the component belonging to hi, now hi belongs to capital Hi, we can simply write h1 h2, we can write it as a product, and it will belong to h1 cross h2. So the very important property was existence of uniqueness. Okay. Also, we used the commutative property. Where did we use the commutative property of different HIs? If you remember, when proving the uniqueness, we used the commutative property when we said that hn, hn dash, hn inverse is h1 dash inverse h1. How did we bring h1 in between all the elements? h2 dash h2. Okay, so on up till hn minus 1, so on up till. How did we bring these elements in between? I said that perform some operations on the left hand side and on the right hand side. How did we do it? We were able to do it because the operation was commutative there. Okay, so that's why we proved that any two elements from HIs, different HIs, commute with each other. So there we use that commutative property. And then where did we use the property HI intersection HJ? Again in proving the uniqueness. So we proved, we had two results. We started with the result that the normality of these subgroups and the second condition of internal direct product together prove that any two elements from different subgroups commute with each other. Second was, if using the second condition of the internal direct product, we know that for any HI intersection HJ is identity element, okay, where I is not equal to J. By using these two results, we proved that the representation of any element of G as a product of elements of these independent subgroups is unique. Now, after proving the uniqueness of this representation, we were able to write a well-defined mapping. By saying well-defined, we proved it well-defined using uniqueness property. So we were able to write a well-defined mapping from the internal direct product to the external direct product. And this is precisely the reason why we define internal direct product in such a manner. I understand that this definition is little complex, but this is a very interesting property that the internal direct product comes out to be isomorphic to the external direct product. Now that we have, external direct product is easier to understand. Okay, so this was a way of putting groups together into a larger group, and this is a process of breaking a larger group into smaller subgroups. Okay, so remember that when we talk of internal direct products, these subgroups need to be normal subgroups. Okay, and that's all for today's class, and with this we end the topic normal subgroups and factor groups. For any doubts, please do write in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video.